We all like to think we're in the driver's seat of our own lives, making our own choices. But what if I told you that most of those choices are being shaped by an invisible force? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that force, based on Jonah Berger's incredible book, Invisible Influence.
I mean, really think about it. The last thing you bought, the music you have on repeat, maybe even the career path you're on. You probably feel like those were all your decisions, right? A product of your own unique taste. But the truth is, we're all constantly, and I mean constantly, being influenced by the people around us.
And that's the core idea here, social influence. It's this powerful, invisible current that's always there. The choices of our friends, our family, even total strangers we see online, they're all nudging us in one direction or another. And the craziest part? Most of the time, we have no idea it's even happening.
So let's get to know this invisible puppeteer, shall we? Turns out it operates through two really basic and kind of contradictory human drives. On one hand, we have this deep primal need to fit in. But on the other, we have an equally powerful urge to stand out.
Let's start with that first force, that magnetic pull to be part of the tribe. Our desire to conform is so strong, it can literally change what we're willing to say is reality. To really get this, we have to look at this classic experiment by a psychologist named Solomon Asch. He brought people into a lab for what he told them was a simple vision test. All they had to do was look at a line on one card and match it to one of 3 lines on another card. Super easy, right? The correct answer was crystal clear. But here's the catch. The person being tested was in a room full of actors who are all told to give the same, obviously wrong answer. So picture yourself in that room. One by one, everyone points to the wrong line. Now it's your turn. What do? Well, the results were shocking. A staggering 75% of the participants caved. They went against what their own eyes were telling them and agreed with the group's wrong answer at least once. Think about that. The need for social acceptance was so powerful that it literally overrode reality.
But hold on! We aren't just a bunch of mindless copycats. There's another powerful force at play, and it pushes in the exact opposite direction, our deep-seated need to be different, to carve out our own unique identity.
And one of the best places to see this drive for uniqueness in action is within our own families. Think about siblings. They share genes, they grow up in the same house, you'd expect them to be pretty similar. But so often, they actively work to find their own lane, to stand apart from each other.
And the research shows this really fascinating pattern. Firstborns often lean into academic success, right? They're the responsible ones. But younger siblings, they see that role is already taken. So they often differentiate. They're more likely to take risks, to excel in other areas like sports, anything to establish their own separate identity. It's not about being better, it's just about being different.
So we've got this constant tug of war going on inside of us, a pull to conform and a push to be unique. And this tension, this back and forth, is actually the engine that drives trends and shapes our entire culture in ways we barely even notice.
Just think about fashion or music or design. We gravitate towards things that feel fresh and novel. That's our need for uniqueness kicking in. But we also want things that feel accepted and understood. That's our need to conform. The sweet spot is what Berger calls being optimally distinct. A perfect example of this, Pantone's color of the year.
See, Pantone doesn't just pick a color out of a hat. They're tracking a cultural evolution. Each year's color feels new, which satisfies our need to be different. But it also feels like a logical next step from the year before, which makes it familiar enough for us to accept. It's not too weird, not too boring, it's just right. It hits that optimally distinct bullseye.
Okay, so we're constantly being swayed by these invisible forces. So the big question is, can we do anything about it? Or are we just stuck? Well, the answer is a big yes. By understanding influence, we can actually start to harness it for good. And to understand how, we're going to look at a very unusual subject, cockroaches. Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but a classic experiment by researcher Bob Zajon's involving these little critters revealed something profound about how having an audience affects our performance. So Zajonch had cockroaches run down a track. When the task was simple, just a straight line, the cockroaches actually ran faster when other roaches were watching. An audience made them better. But when he made the task complex, a difficult maze, the exact opposite happened. The audience made them slower, and they made more mistakes.
Now, this isn't just about insects. It's about us, too. The presence of others helps us when we're doing something simple or something we've practiced a million times, like going for a run. But it can seriously hinder us when the task is complex or new, like trying to nail a big presentation or parallel park with someone watching. So knowing this, we can design our environment for success. Practice that big speech alone, but maybe hit the gym with a friend.
And this power goes way beyond just us. It can create huge social change. For instance, a company called O-Power got people to use less energy simply by showing them how their consumption compared to their neighbors. Turns out, nobody wants to be the most wasteful person on the block. And even bigger, the Moving to Opportunity program showed that helping a family move to a better neighborhood dramatically improved their kids' future health and income, all by changing their social environment.
All right, so let's wrap this all up. What are the key things to remember? First, we are social creatures through and through. Second, we're always doing this balancing act between fitting in and standing out. Third, this invisible dance shapes pretty much every decision we make. And finally, and this is the most important one, understanding this stuff is the first step to taking back control.
You know, as Jonah Berger himself says, understanding these hidden forces isn't about feeling powerless. It's the total opposite. It's about gaining the ability to navigate them, to choose our influences, and to use their power to improve our own lives and the lives of the people around us.
So, the next time you make a choice, just take a second. Look for those invisible strings. Ask yourself, am I doing this to fit in, to stand out, or is it because this is truly what I want? Now that you can see the influence, the real question is, what are you going to do with it?